Du Qingyang's cruel words echoed in the air, mocking the girl for not inheriting the power of her mother's bloodline. His derisive laughter was cut short as Chen Yang's eyes blazed with fury. With a swift motion, his right arm shot out like a dagger, the profound acupoints along his arm blazing with fiery energy. A thunderous sound rang through the air as his hand pierced Du Qingyang's abdomen, but it only sank a little before halting. Like a stone lodged in impenetrable earth, Du Qingyang sneered, his voice dripping with disdain. "You never know when to give up," he muttered, unscathed by the assault. But in a moment of ruthless vengeance, Chen Yang detonated his arm, an explosion that tore through Du Qingyang's body, splattering the air with blood. Yet Du Qingyang, enraged, charged forward, his body flickering with dying scales, a desperate fury in his eyes. Chen Yang's face grew pale with alarm, raising his left arm in vain for defense, but before he could react further, a blur shot through the air. A figure brimming with power. 72 profound acupoints flared with energy, and the force of a mighty strike sent Gu Qianshun flying, her bone sword slipping from her grasp. The sword continued its deadly path, carving through Du Qingyang's skull, and his head fell with a sickening thud, his life extinguished in an instant. The air fell silent as Du Qingyang's headless body crumpled to the ground, and Chen Yang, drenched in blood, stood frozen in disbelief. Gu Qianshun, equally stunned, turned to find the source of the intervention. It was none other than Li Feiyu, the man they had all forgotten. His presence was like an omen, and as they gazed upon him, they saw not just the aura of power, but the unmistakable signs of mastery over the Titan Vajra arts. Chen Yang and Gu Qianshun exchanged a look, their minds racing as realization dawned. The mysterious vial of red liquid, a catalyst for Li Feiyu's rise in strength, had sealed their fates. The bloodline of Du Niang, now infused in Han Li, had transformed him into something beyond their comprehension. "Explain," Han Li demanded, wiping blood from his face, his eyes still steely with purpose. Gu Qianshun, attempting to conceal her intentions, gave a sly smile. "It was a necessary risk, fellow Taoist Li. You were our unintentional ally in this plot." Chen Yang, his tone now more respectful, spoke of apologies and shifting alliances. "Had I not invited you, you would never have found yourself tangled in our struggle," he admitted. But Han Li remained calm, unfazed by their words. "Let's not dwell on the past. What's important now is our next steps." It was then that Chen Yang, still in the grip of survival instinct, proposed an alliance. "We need your help to secure Green Goat City. Only then can we ensure our future safety and access to resources." He offered Han Li a share in the spoils. Li Feiyu, his mind sharp, posed two conditions: the removal of the Black Tribulation centipede from his body, and the release of Shikong and Taoist Xie. Chen Yang, reluctantly, acknowledged the challenges ahead. The Black Tribulation centipede is a creation of Du Qingyang's dark arts. Only his secret vault might hold the answers. With a nod, Han Li agreed, and they prepared to move forward, the promise of power and danger intertwined in their future. As they set their sights on the vault, the last piece of the puzzle remained, the silent figure of Taoist Xi. Though his fate was uncertain, Han Li said nothing, the atmosphere thick with tension. "Let us go," Gu Qianshun said, breaking the silence. "There will be time for explanations later. First, we must secure the means to end this threat." With that, they readied themselves to face the next challenge. The cave, once a battleground, was soon tidied by Han Li, Chen Yang, and Gu Qianshun, who erased all traces of their violent conflict. Together, they piled the fallen bodies of Du Qingyang and his men. As Chen Yang rifled through Du Qingyang's remains, he revealed a triangular black badge, adorned with two curved bulges resembling the head of a goat. One side read, "Green Goat," the other, "Profound City." Its black sheen pulsed with energy, and Han Li quickly discerned its significance. This badge was a mark of the city lord of Green Goat City. "Save it for later. We don't have time," Gu Qianshun ordered coldly. Chen Yang chuckled, stowing the badge, and retrieved a white stone. After a brief rub, he threw it onto the bodies. Flames of white fire erupted, consuming the pile, reducing it to ash. The trio swiftly donned new attire, with Chen Yang presenting black armor to both Han Li and Gu Qianshun. Han Li hesitated, his gladiator garb leaving him bare should he strip down, but before he could decide, Gu Qianshun disrobed without a second thought, revealing her battle-worn form. Scars marred her once pristine skin, each telling a silent story of past battles. Han Li's gaze lingered on the fierce marks that marred her body. For one of their cultivation, such wounds were not easily sustained. Gu Qianshun's calm demeanor remained unbroken as she donned the armor. "Hurry up and change," she urged, her voice indifferent to the awkwardness. "I trust my allies are not so naive." Chen Yang chuckled at the spectacle, while Han Li responded with a wry smile before quickly donning his armor. The trio departed the cave, climbing the passage as Daoist She trailed behind them. As they ventured, Han Li's mind was disturbed by a sudden voice, a subtle intrusion of thought. Gu Qianshun's words rang clear in his mind. "Let us join forces, fellow Daoist Li." She spoke plainly, aware of his independence and refusal to join her alliance. But with Du Qingyang's demise and the fading utility of their current alliance with Chen Yang, Gu Qianshun made a compelling case for unity, especially with the threat of the Black Tribulation centipedes within them both. Han Li acknowledged her words with a silent nod, and the alliance was forged. Their path led them into the heart of the city lord's manor, where the bustling hall was filled with servants and guards. Chen Yang's men quickly clustered around him, eager for news. "It is done," he declared, prompting a cheer. He silenced them with a raised hand, instructing them to disperse and play their parts in the next phase. The party continued, arriving at the stone hall where the massive stone gate of the Green Goat Vault loomed ahead. At its center stood a gray-robed elder, his body radiating silver light. As the group approached, his eyes flickered open. "What brings you here, Captain Chen Yang?" he asked, his tone wary. Feigning urgency, Chen Yang presented Du Qingyang's badge, claiming the need for blood soul crystals to quell a crisis. The elder's suspicions softened as he inspected the badge, but he questioned Chen Yang further, asking for a city lord's token. "I have it," Chen Yang responded, holding up the badge. Just as the elder turned to open the vault with a silver key, Chen Yang's eyes widened. "What's that?" he exclaimed, pointing at the gate. The elder spun around, distracted for a fleeting moment, just enough time for Han Li's strike. His arms crackled with starlight, expanding into golden pillars that struck like thunder. Chen Yang, not to be outdone, unleashed a vicious strike, while Gu Qianshun's white bone sword aimed for the elder's throat. The elder reacted swiftly, but the attacks were too fast. A suit of silver armor began to materialize around him, spikes rising like a porcupine's quills. Yet Han Li, ever faster, closed the distance in an instant and delivered a crushing blow. The elder was sent sprawling, his armor dissolving. Before he could recover, Chen Yang's hand pierced through the elder's chest, crushing his heart, while Gu Qianshun's blade destroyed the nascent soul within. With the elder vanquished, Chen Yang seized the key and approached the vault's gate. He slid the silver key into its lock, turning it. A series of clicks echoed as the glowing silver patterns faded, and the massive stone gate creaked open, revealing what lay beyond. With a single glance, Chen Yang assessed Han Li and Gu Qianshun before stepping into the vault. Han Li and Gu Qianshun exchanged a look and followed behind. The vault's interior was vast, resembling a grand palace, with 7 or 8 imposing cabinets crafted from a mysterious black wood that exuded a fragrant aroma, filling the air with a sense of the extraordinary. Each cabinet stood with 3 levels, containing an array of precious materials, cultivation arts, and beast cores. Yet, Han Li's gaze was fixed not on these treasures, but on the center of the vault where a towering black stone pillar stood, covered in strange, worm-like patterns. Atop the pillar sat a black crystal, smooth as glass, radiating a pulsating black light that rippled with eerie energy. "That's the Black Tribulation Stone," Han Li murmured, his tone cautious, but his eyes alight with recognition. He did not move toward the stone immediately, as both Han Li and Gu Qianshun observed the stone with keen interest, each harboring their own thoughts. "You've heard of the Black Tribulation Stone, fellow Daoist Li?" Chen Yang asked, his voice tinged with a knowing grin. "It can suppress the Black Tribulation centipedes, but it cannot remove them entirely. Let us see if something else here can provide a solution. Apologies, but we can only remain for an hour at most," he added. Gu Qianshun nodded, then began searching through the nearby cabinets, with Han Li quickly joining her. In the sealed Scalptia spatial domain, there were no restrictions on their spiritual powers, allowing them to comb the vault freely. Time passed swiftly, and soon, Han Li grimly placed a book back onto its shelf, his expression mirroring Gu Qianshun's, disappointment and unease. They had searched every book, but none held a clue on the Black Tribulation centipedes. Suddenly, Chen Yang's voice broke the silence. "I found something. Come, take a look." Han Li and Gu Qianshun hurried over to find Chen Yang standing before a cabinet in the corner, staring at a black crystalline box. Through the semi-transparent walls of the box, they could see a colony of Black Tribulation centipedes writhing inside. Chen Yang held a black jade slab, etched with small characters. He handed it to Han Li and Gu Qianshun, who read the inscription with growing concern. The jade slab detailed the breeding methods of the centipedes, explaining their life cycle and the dark process of implanting them into host bodies. But there was no mention of how to remove them. Instead, it revealed that Black Tribulation centipedes were social creatures, ruled by a king. The Black Tribulation stone itself had been refined from the body of a Black Tribulation centipede king, which was why it could suppress their power. The slab further explained that a fingernail-sized piece of Black Tribulation stone was sufficient to hold a centipede in check. Chen Yang, sensing the grim mood, sliced 2 egg-sized pieces from the Black Tribulation stone and offered them to Han Li and Gu Qianshun. "Better to be safe than sorry," he said. Han Li accepted, albeit with a skeptical eye, tucking the pieces away, while Gu Qianshun's gaze remained fixed on the black box. "Thinking of taking some of the centipedes?" Chen Yang asked, a sly grin playing on his lips. "Make sure to use a proper container." Gu Qianshun shook her head, her finger pointing to a side of the box, a subtle 6-petaled flower symbol etched upon it. Han Li, who had missed it before, moved closer, recognizing the symbol. "Do you recognize it, fellow Taoist Gu?" Han Li inquired. Gu Qianshun nodded gravely. "I've seen this emblem in Profound City. It's the mark of Mistress Lu Hua, the master swordsmith." "Mistress Lu Hua? A female swordsmith, indeed?" Han Li mused. "Not a woman, actually. He's a man," Chen Yang clarified, his voice holding a hint of pride. "Lu Hua is the current master of the 100-City Tribe, a clan of legendary swordsmiths. His weapons are renowned for their perfection. He's been in Profound City since being cast into the Scalptia spatial domain by the Night Sun Empire. Du Qingyang once sought his craft but was turned down." Han Li's eyes narrowed. "And why is his emblem here?" Gu Qianshun speculated. "Perhaps he crafted this box, or maybe he's connected to the Black Tribulation centipedes in some way." Chen Yang, sensing a change in the mood, suggested, "Let's finish searching the rest of the vault." They turned their attention to the final unsearched cabinet. Han Li picked up a glowing purple crystal, his spiritual sense probing it, but finding nothing unusual. He next picked up a black statue, a devilish deity with 3 heads and 6 arms. This caught his attention, for he had seen a similar statue in Taoist Master Boneshine's collection. Could this be related? He placed the statue down, but a flicker of excitement flashed across his mind. As they finished searching the vault, Han Li stood in contemplation. "At least, this gives us a lead." The 3 gathered before the black jade box again, their spirits weighed with disappointment. Chen Yang offered an apologetic smile. "I'm sorry I could not find a way to remove the Black Tribulation centipedes. However, once I've dealt with Du Qingyang's followers, I'll send people to investigate and find an answer." Han Li's expression darkened. "A satisfactory answer? When?" Chen Yang's face tightened. Du Qingyang was the only one who knew how to remove them. "I'll search in the City Lord's Manor and Profound City for further leads." Gu Qianshun's voice cut through the tension, cold and unwavering. "Don't placate us with vague promises. We need a definite answer on our Black Tribulation centipedes." At that, Chen Yang's aura flared, a chilling pressure emanating from his body. His energy was fierce, sharp like 1,000 blades. Han Li and Gu Qianshun responded in kind, their own auras clashing with his. The vault trembled under the weight of their power, and the air thickened with the impending storm of conflict. The tension in the air was palpable, as Chen Yang's eyes widened in shock. "Are you two truly going to betray me at such a critical moment?" he demanded, his voice laced with disbelief. Han Li, ever unshaken, gave a cold grunt, his arms glowing with golden light, while Gu Qianshun's hand rested on the bone belt at her waist, prepared for battle. "That depends on you," Han Li retorted, his voice as sharp as the sword he wielded. If you choose to face us, we'll gladly oblige, he warned. Chen Yang's expression flickered, a tinge of concern in his gaze. Now is not the time for us to fight amongst ourselves, Chen Yang stated gravely, his aura slowly retracting. We have a common enemy in Du Qingyang's remnants. Any internal strife will only serve to aid them, and if the forces of Profound City are involved, none of us will survive. His words were heavy with the weight of truth. Han Li and Gu Qianshun, understanding the gravity of the situation, also restrained their auras, choosing diplomacy over violence for the moment. I admit, Chen Yang continued, I failed to solve the problem of the Black Tribulation centipedes in your bodies. But once we deal with Du Qingyang's forces, I swear I will find a way within a month. If I fail, you may each request something in return. Agreed? Han Li and Gu Qianshun exchanged a silent communication before Han Li nodded slightly. Agreed, he said, his voice steady. With their vendetta against Du Qingyang's forces clear, the trio had no choice but to work together. Chen Yang, sensing their hesitation, offered a solution. To make amends for my failure, choose 2 treasures from this vault. He flashed a warm smile, his earlier coldness dissipating as if nothing had occurred. Han Li, though still wary, was drawn to the offer. Gu Qianshun, ever the pragmatist, accepted with a smile. We'll take you up on that, fellow Taoist. As they scoured the vault for treasures, Han Li's gaze swept over a collection of rare cultivation techniques, each more tempting than the last. He hesitated, but then Taoist She's voice echoed in his mind, urgent and firm. Avoid those cultivation arts. Instead, take the black statue. It contains a hidden bodily refinement art. Turning swiftly, Han Li saw Taoist She by the door, his head bowed as if unaware of the tension in the room. Han Li paused, considering the words carefully, before his gaze fell on the black statue. His decision was made. Meanwhile, Gu Qianshun, having made her choice, held a book in one hand and a golden beast bone in the other. Han Li's brow furrowed slightly, but he turned his attention back to Taoist Shi. With a subtle glare, he placed the book back and grabbed the black statue. Taoist Shi's eyes flickered with approval, but he remained silent. Han Li, feeling the weight of his choices, moved to the next cabinet, his thoughts sharp as ever. Inside, he found a radiant collection of beast cores, their light dazzling in the dim vault. Among them, one core in particular caught his eye. A white jade box, holding a core that gleamed with intense star power, far superior to anything he had seen before. His heart quickened. This was a treasure beyond compare, far surpassing the B-tier beast core Gu Qianshun had gifted him. With practiced hands, Han Li gently closed the box. His eyes gleaming with quiet satisfaction, he returned to Chen Yang's side, presenting his selections. I would like these 2, he said, lifting the black statue in the jade box. Chen Yang, though his eyes lingered with reluctance on the A-tier beast core, nodded. Of course, he replied. But be cautious. A-tier beast cores are not to be trifled with. Their star power is volatile, and you must handle them with care. I will, Han Li replied. Unfazed, the core was powerful, but so was he. The group made their way to a side hall in the city lord's manor. As they entered, Chen Yang's face grew serious. Please wait here, he instructed. I will deal with Du Qingyang's forces in the main hall. If things go smoothly, I'll handle it alone, but if not, I'll need your help. We are all in this together, Gu Qianshun said with a smile. We will stand by your side, fellow Taoist Chen. Han Li nodded, his expression calm. Do as you must, fellow Taoist Chen. We will support you. With a final nod, Chen Yang left with Taoist She, leaving Han Li and Gu Qianshun in the hall. As they settled at a stone table, Gu Qianshun turned to Han Li with a knowing look. Do you trust Chen Yang? Han Li's brow furrowed slightly. How much do you know about him? He asked. Gu Qianshun's eyes narrowed. There is more to him than you think. Anyone who underestimates him will pay dearly, even worse than Du Qingyang. Han Li mulled over her words. Then, Gu Qianshun's expression shifted. There's something I need to confess to you, she said. Han Li raised an eyebrow. It's about the heart-pitting insects, isn't it? You were the one who gave the orders, weren't you? Surprise flashed across Gu Qianshun's face. You knew? I suspected, Han Li replied. Du Qingyang and Chen Yang had no reason to kill me, and neither did you, but there was a hidden agenda. Gu Qianshun sighed, her gaze turning inward. You're right. Du Qingyang was already stronger than me, I feared he'd become even more powerful after absorbing your true spirit bloodlines, so I made plans to kill you first. But after you survived the heart-pitting insects, I saw you in a new light. That's when Chen Yang and I shifted our plan to sabotage the Sinha blood array instead. Hanli's eyes narrowed. Why tell me this now? We're working together now, Gu Qianshun said softly. If we don't trust each other fully, we'll all fall at Chen Yang's hands in the end. Her words lingered in the air as Hanli pondered the truth in them. Trust in their world was as deadly as any blade. The great hall was filled with an uproar, a sea of voices echoing amidst the clinking of black stone goblets filled with scaled beast blood. At the stone table sat Chen Yang, draped in calm demeanor, his hand gently caressing his goblet, the other hidden within his sleeve. Though all around him indulged in drink, he abstained, offering only gestures of politeness when prompted to partake. Beside him lay a black box, shrouded in mystery. A hulking man with tusks, Captain Mao Lin, approached with a grin, inquiring about the purpose of their gathering. "What has City Lord Du ordered this time?" he asked, his curiosity piqued. Chen Yang's smile was enigmatic. "I know not what is to come, but when the time is right, City Lord Du will reveal all." As he spoke, the doors of the hall creaked open, and 3 figures entered. The horned overseer of the arena, flanked by 2 crimson-robed scribes. The young man beside Chen Yang relayed news of all but a few being absent on hunts. With a silent nod, the man departed, and the doors closed behind him. The hall fell into an expectant quiet, with Chen Yang observing the gathered men in measured stillness. The silence was broken by a devilish figure, Xiang Pei, who impatiently demanded to know the reason for their assembly. Chen Yang remained unfazed, his voice calm. "Patience, Captain Xiang. Let City Lord Du take his time. Enjoy the feast while we wait." The hall quieted once more as the men sipped their blood. When the last drink was nearly finished, Chen Yang rose and walked toward the head of the table, sitting upon Du Qingyang's chair. His actions sent a ripple through the hall, and a hush fell upon the room. Mulin sprang to his feet, rage burning in his eyes. "You dare sit there, Chen Yang? Do you seek death?" The others followed, rising to their feet in fury, but Chen Yang was unmoved. With a lazy stretch, he spoke. "City Lord Du has something to reveal today, so let us wait." His eyes swept over the room, a glint of challenge in his gaze. "City Lord Du has seen himself unworthy of the position. It has passed to me." The hall erupted in an uproar of disbelief and anger. "What are you saying?" Xiang Pei roared. "Who do you think you are, Chen Yang?" Mao Lin's voice rang out with a menacing tone. "Are you trying to rebel?" With a fierce crash, Chen Yang slammed his hand onto the stone table, cracks spreading like the rage in the room. "You can ask Du Qingyang himself," he said coldly. Without waiting for response, he pushed the black box forward, revealing its grisly contents, Du Qingyang's severed head. The hall froze in shock. Mao Lin rushed forward, brushing aside the hair to reveal the face of their once mighty lord. "City Lord Du!" Xiang Pei shouted in alarm. A tense silence followed as the men exchanged looks, uncertainty mixing with anger. Mao Lin, spitting with fury, shouted, "You must die for this!" The others hesitated, eyes flicking between Chen Yang and the corpse of Du Qingyang. "I will support whoever kills him," Mao Lin declared, and the atmosphere shifted, tension coiling in the air like the strike of a venomous snake. But Chen Yang, with a voice like ice, challenged, "You think you can kill me?" As if summoned, his hunting party poured through the doors, surrounding the room. The men who had once felt power now seemed mere shadows of it, collapsing to the ground as the blood in their veins turned against them. "White profound beast bone powder," Xiang Pei groaned, his realization coming too late. Chen Yang sauntered over, pouring his beast blood over Xiang Pei's face, his words a venomous hiss. "Late for that, isn't it?" Xiang Pei's eyes closed as he sank into the depths of his defeat. Chen Yang turned to the room, his voice ringing out like a challenge. "Loyalty to a dead man, or will you live and thrive in the new era I offer?" The hall fell into a suffocating silence. Elsewhere, Hanli and Gu Qianshun watched the unfolding scene. "Chen Yang's ambitions are sharp," Hanli mused, "but with them comes danger." Gu Qianshun nodded, his thoughts as inscrutable as always. Chen Yang's voice broke the silence once more, cold and decisive. "Follow me, and I shall give you more than Du Qingyang ever did. Oppose me, and you die." In a flash, he appeared beside an elderly man, his foot driving down to crush the man's wrist. The aged figure's palm opened, revealing a star bone of an explosive-scaled beast. "To die for a man already gone," Chen Yang observed, picking up the bone. The man's resolve was unbroken. "City Lord Du saved my life. If I can't serve him, I will follow him to the afterlife." Chen Yang's fist descended, ending the man's life in an instant. As his body shattered, the message was clear. Rebellion would be crushed, and only the strong would inherit the city. The hall was silent again, the death of Du Qingyang a marker of a new dawn. Chen Yang, unshaken, had taken his first step toward his inevitable rise. The city would bend to his will, or it would break.